Hello, everyone. I'm Alexandra Pope, and I'm co-director of Red School, and I am co-author of the book Wise Power: Discover the Liberating Power of Menopause to Awaken Authority, Purpose, and Belonging. Now, in 2022, I started something called the Wise Power series, which is a series of intimate conversations with people about their menopause experience. Very real conversations about what they were going through and what it was revealing to them and liberating in them. So, this series of conversations is about the power, the authority, and the purpose that menopause awakens in us. And then what's possible collectively and individually when this rite of passage is supported and dignified. And today I've got the utter pleasure of talking to Clare Du Bois for the second time. So Clare is a visionary and a very powerful speaker and leader. She electrifies when she speaks. She's the founder of TreeSisters, which is this magnificent charity that has a mission to rapidly accelerate tropical reforestation by inspiring and channeling women's nature-based leadership into global action. She is currently on a long-term menopause sabbatical because she hit a very extreme burnout in herself. And in our first conversation, we explored what that entry into menopause was really demanding of her. It was a very, very powerful conversation, and I will leave the link for that for you to listen to as well. So today, I want to catch up with Clare and find out where she's at in her menopause journey. And menopause was demanding something very, very powerful of her in something she had to meet within herself. And I would love to hear now what has unfolded from that. So I hope you're going to enjoy this conversation. I know I'm going to. She truly is a force of nature. Clare, so nice to see you again.
Hello, love.
Yeah, welcome for a return round of conversations about menopause. Yeah, what I'd love to do is actually to begin with our great tradition at Red School, which is a cycle check-in. And of course, neither of us have a menstrual cycle anymore. So this is a moon cycle check-in. And it just so happens that we're smack bang on full moon. So Clare, what are you noticing about yourself today on this full moon?
I actually feel hopeful, which is quite amazing given the fact that I had like 4 hours sleep last night. And Mark and I sleep out. We're still sleeping out here in California. And so we sleep in a mosquito net. And the full moon was so unbelievably intense. It was like having just a spotlight literally on us. And my body was buzzing, but it was so gorgeous. I couldn't bring myself to go inside to, you know. So I would have expected myself to be completely frazzled, but actually there's this beautiful calm, like the backdrop is soft inside myself,
Mm.
which is not usually how I am at full moon, I have to say. And it's not been how I've been on the run up to full moon. I've been a basket case. So I'm quite glad that today feels soft.
I love that. Well, I'll follow on from you. It's so interesting. So yes, leading up to the full moon, I had been very these last few days very kind of purposeful and strong sense of agency and a certain muscularity in my being, and I'm feeling very well. I've been feeling very well, and I woke up this morning and I too had a disrupted night because of the cursed full moon. I love you, moon. Um, And so I didn't get my full complement of sleep. And it was very interesting this morning. I just had no will to push. It was like a complete stasis. And it felt like, I thought, oh yeah, the moon has reached its sort of pinnacle moment. It's like this pause. And then it's now then going to start, waning. And I felt like I was sort of held in that pause this morning. And I truly had no will for anything. And I feel surprisingly well, like you. And well, you use the word softness. It's well. I just feel good in myself. I mean, I am at the end of my day. Of course, you're just at the start of your day, so I am just a little bit more ragged now than I was this morning. But there's a sort of there's chi in my system, and it feels generous. That energy, actually, yeah, that's a nice word. I feel a kind of generousness, and my will did eventually come back online. Okay, so Claire, menopause. I actually want to just recap a little on our previous conversation, which I think was about 2 years ago by my reckoning. And to then off the back of that, just ask you, how's it going now? How are you doing now? But you were really in the depths of that first phase of menopause, which is that falling off the cliff. You talked about being in a river and being sort of taken over the edge and plunged down into the depths, into the deepest well of menopause. And there was it was utter stasis. And you had this feeling of menopause just being very kind of fierce with you. It was like it wasn't going to let you go anywhere. And you spoke about this dismantling of patriarchy. You talked about being depatriarched, that menopause was dismantling of you, of your habits of being, of push and drive and over responsibility, and that menopause wasn't going to let you out until you had surrendered and let go. And you spoke so passionately and so powerfully, like just such as trust in menopause. And I was very moved by it. And I'm very curious now has menopause let you out of the deep? No, she's a tough old.
I'm actually hugely grateful that she hasn't. And yeah, it's interesting to hear myself say that because it's not easy. There's nothing easy about this. No, actually, that's not true. It's both. It's incredibly easy and it's really friggin' hard. The easy bit is that she just took over. I mean, everything that I said then is still true. Like really nothing has changed, but everything's changed. I mean, because we're not prepared. Well, because the majority of us are not prepared. We don't know what we're walking into. I have pretty much nothing to compare myself to in terms of should it go on this long? Is this normal? Is this, I remember you saying once, you really want to do your cycle awareness. You really want to utilize the cycle in a very conscious way, because if you don't, it's all going to hit you at menopause. And, I was the classic, absolutely did not follow my cycle, would not rest. I was almost like, I was just the antithesis of everything that you teach for pretty much my entire menstrual cycle, because with the level of trauma in my body, I didn't know how to rest. I just didn't know how. Like my nervous system couldn't actually physically do it. And so classically, when it became time to rest, as in bedtime or the bleed, my system ramps up, it does the opposite. And I felt kind of hijacked by that. I have felt hijacked by that my entire life. And so when you would say it'll catch up with you at menopause, I feel like it has. It's kind of, I'm getting it. I mean, I don't know, again, because I can't compare myself to anybody, but I'm 3 years in. I've 3 years since I've bled, and I do feel like I've touched the bottom, and I do feel like there's the beginning of an ascent, but there's no rush to get out. I am. What I've loved about this process is the fact that because I recognized how much I didn't live my menstrual years, I've given myself complete permission to do menopause properly. And um, so there's no part of me trying to get out or trying to push the process, because it's like asking a butterfly to get out of the pupa before it's formed its wings properly. Like, I need everything, everything that is available to turn to goo, because I do not want the next phase of my life to look anything like the previous phase. And the previous phase really was um, running. I mean, I was running away from pain, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And self-validating and trying to prove, and so many different patterns of behavior rooted in dissociation and disconnection from myself, and fear and shame and blah blah blah, all that stuff, that until it's digested, until it's really assimilated, until I've been able to take stock of what I've been running from, I risk running again. And I can't do it. I won't do it. And you know, when you first said, that very first time I ever met you, and you said, women don't need a spiritual teacher because they've got their cycle, I thought you were nuts. I didn't understand it. And then when you took us through the menstrual wheel, and I got to experience what was going on inside me consciously with a guide, and I had my first experience of feeling that and understanding what it was that you were talking about, I remember just going, oh my God, there really actually is something good about being a woman. And then I was so shocked to have had that thought, oh my God, there is something to be grateful for. Now, now I feel as if the transition into menopause has completely re-educated what it actually means to be a woman. I didn't get it during my menstrual cycle at all because I couldn't allow myself to. Now, now menopause has shown me unequivocally that there is an internal imperative that is actually running the show, that has given me the ability to do things that I could never do before because I was really terrible at saying no. Now I'm like, it's my new superpower. I can say no to absolutely everything. Um, but it's like, it's like a woman is a cosmic bridge, and we get the opportunity through the menstrual years to start understanding, like to start understanding our relationship with the earth of our body and the moon of our body. But there's something about the menopausal gateway. It's funny, it makes me want to cry. There's something about it that feels like we become a cosmic bridge. Um, and we become a conduit of truth, or a compass of truth, or a
Wow.
it's really hard to find the right words for it, but it's like, if you can fully give yourself to what is happening at menopause, it will literally it'll recompass you. It'll point you in the direction of your deepest knowing, whether you want it or not, and then it will excavate everything that is in the way of that truth. So everything that's been holding me outside of my direct connection with myself is being dissolved. Now, I'm very much a conscious collaborator in that process because I've been doing like full tilt trauma work for 2.5 years. And so there's been a very clear, very powerful choice inside myself to face into the stuff that has basically held me dissociated. So I think you could try and bounce along over the top of it the way that I did over my menstrual years. But there's, but it's, I think it would be pretty damn hard because if menopause was strong enough to bounce me
Yeah.
out out of that over striving by pulling the energy rug out from underneath me, you just landed on your ass, aren't you? It's just like all the fake reserves of energy, all the adrenal energy, all of the stuff that could have you driving over the top of yourself. The rug just gets pulled. You land on your ass. You can't get back up again. And it's like you can't keep playing the game at the level of this just doesn't operate anymore because you're underneath it and you can't like climb up to go, everything's fine, because it's not. It
No,
just isn't.
no, you cannot compromise yourself anymore. I gosh, you have said so much in just the what you've just spoken here. And I want to track back and acknowledge, what you were saying about the menstrual cycle and how at menstruation, instead of stopping, you sort of ramped up. And I think when you're holding a lot of trauma in your system, sorry, I'm going to cough again. Some water. Menstruation is such an opening of the ways. It's you're completely, all the veils are taken back and you're exposed. Now, if there's a huge amount of trauma in your system, that's too much.
Yeah.
You can't take that. So, your system was wise. Your system was wise because now I know now at menopause, it's all in a sense caught up with you. Because it's true, if you'd been able to do it, gradually in your menstruating years, maybe it wouldn't be quite so well. It wouldn't have been. I believe I'm going to say firmly that it would not be quite as bad. However, now at menopause, it's all coming through. But you have a maturity in you because, of course, you've done so much inner work anyway. I mean, it's not like you have been unconscious of yourself. On the contrary, I mean, you have faced up and done inner work all this time. You have been in your way doing it. So you actually had you've got something under your belt when you came to menopause. So you could recognize actually and dare to trust menopause. I mean, that's a radical act.
And that's what's really surprised a lot of women have been like, aren't you afraid? Because, it wasn't just stopping bleeding. I had my last bleed 3 weeks after resigning from TreeSisters. And so it was putting down my life's work, putting down a public identity, putting down everything that I thought I had built and would do for the rest of my life. And it was not a pretty ending. Like it was a really hardcore ending. And so I was grieving like a fiend. I was raging. I felt betrayed. It was just like, it was a shit show. But in another way, it was like, if it hadn't been so bad, I would never have left. Because I'm so loyal and I so loved it that I can see in retrospect that it had to be that bad in order for me to go. But also, had I stayed, I would never have been able to give myself this time. Like just incapable because what I have been able to do is give myself 100% to this process. And my best mate, when I was in this just like desperation before I actually resigned because there was this deadlock happening. Yeah, which I can't go into. He just said, just die, go find a coffin and lie down and die, because it was Halloween. It was literally Halloween the day I sent in my resignation. And he said, look, it's the Day of the Dead. Go find a coffin and die to that identity, die to everything you created, like die. And there was he just kept saying it, die. And it got me. It was just like, it felt like the most sensible thing anyone had ever said to me. And I was just like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. Like, and I didn't know I was about to stop bleeding, but I mean, I was heavily perimenopausal. But, I was definitely at that point in my life. And it was just like, wow, what would that be like? What would it be like to die properly? What would it be like to, it within an incarnation actually lay down an entire identity? And as frightening as it had been to found TreeSisters because I didn't know what I was doing, I was faced with this new opportunity, which was, well, what would it be like to just completely let it go? And there was part of me going, that's preposterous. After 12 years of slog, you're going to drop that. And there was another part of me going, well, I'm never, you know, I don't know what, like, I have no idea who I actually am outside of that anymore. Like, I'm lost in that identity. How would it be to actually try on entirely letting go? I mean, as in terms of a life experiment, in terms of what Tree Sisters was all about, which is, can you step into your truth? Can you step into your body? Can you dare to follow what's required rather than the patriarchal, you know, you got to carry on and you got to earn in this way and you've got to show up in this way. Like, it, whether it's right or wrong, it would be such a worthy experiment to just let go, So in the horror of it all, because it really was the hardest, it was just so hard leaving Tree Sisters. There was also this impetus of like an awareness of dissolution, even though I didn't know what that really was at that point. I didn't know what letting go really meant. I just knew that I was willing. And also this awareness that I couldn't let go whilst hanging on to any future that I thought was going to add up. Like, I had to let go of everything. I had to entirely, it wasn't like leap off the trapeze and wait for the next trapeze to come. It was leap off the trapeze and fall.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You can't. It isn't. It isn't a death if you've got another little trapeze to bounce onto.
No, it was
Actually staying in the same story and reproducing something.
it
Yeah,
was fall, just
yeah.
fall, and then keep falling,
And keep
and then
falling.
and keep falling, and keep falling, and keep fall literally. And I meet women and they're just like, but what are you going to do next? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, aren't you terrified? No. Like, and they look at me like like they look at me with fear and I have none. And that's been what's been incredible about this menopause journey for me. Like, literally, this internal impetus, this knowing that this is my moment, this is my gateway, this is what, if I am going to dissolve who I am not and become who I am, if I'm going to melt through the false flaws of all the defense mechanisms I put in place to survive the trauma, if I'm going to have a chance to plug into the root of who I am and bring forth even just myself, but then maybe something that myself could bring that does not arise from the old patterns, I have to die properly. Like, I can't try to bring something forward until something authentically arises. And if nothing is authentically arising, then all there is to do is keep falling. That's it. And so, and falling feels like an art in and of itself. And I love it. I can't explain it. I love it because I think because the rest of my life has been so not that, and because I and also because I want so badly to know myself. I want so badly to experience something that is not arising from defensiveness or self-validation or avoidance of shame or fear. Like I want to know what that clear root feels like. I want to know what joy feels like. I want to know what my natural energy when my nervous system is regulated feels like. And you know, my body has carried so much intense trauma. I've not had access to any of that. So that's my goal. That's my destination. It's just like I've got a place I want to get to, but I'm not trying to get there. I'm falling so that I can let go of all my attachments to a way of being that has held me out of that, if that makes sense. And that feels like what menopause has given me. Like it emphasizes the capacity to drop.
Yes, it emphasizes the capacity to drop and to step away from the things that are holding you from really being yourself. It won't let you go into old habits. It's very, it won't let you compromise yourself anymore.
Well, it'll let you because you still can, but you can't pretend to yourself that you're not. You know that you're doing it.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
You know,
That's
the habit patterns are still there, the
yeah.
conditioning is still there, the tendencies are still there, but it's in your face. You can't pretend to yourself that you're not doing it. So you have much more support to wake up to the choice in the moment to take an action that is honoring of yourself rather than dishonoring of yourself. It's like it's much more immediately available. Self-awareness is just much more immediately available, much more.
It is a real awakening. Oh, Claire. I just need to receive everything you have said here. It's so incredible what you're doing. Ah,
And I'll just say one other thing, just while I'm on that track. The falling feeling, the falling and the letting go. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. Like if you were falling down a tunnel and the tunnel walls were made of all these different hands that were reaching out, like hands, and your hands are like touching all the fingertips on the way down. Like, so there's this kind of supported feeling all the way down, but nobody's actually grabbing your hand and taking you. But it's like the the beingness that you're falling through, like you're, and this is why I feel a little bit like menopause is the gateway to like cosmic bridging. And I know that's available all the way through the menstrual cycle, but there's something about going from a little void into a big void. And I know that makes no sense. It's just like, because a void is a void, but like a voidlet to like an epic void, you know, like the menstrual cycles are like practice drops. Practice, you get to practice, you get to practice. And I and I couldn't, you know, I didn't. And I really appreciate you saying what you're saying because, you know, I'm still there. I'm still in that place of, you know, my nervous system got so brutalized, it just did what it just defended in so many different ways in order to survive. And then like this process of melting through the defenses is I still like real deeply relaxing still hasn't become a thing that my nervous system can do, and I still go into hypervigilance, but it's getting less and it's softening. Like there is a softening. There's the beginning of a sense of safety coming, but that dropping, it's like you are all the hands that are holding you on the way down. You are the darkness that is all consuming, but also all nurturing. You are the void and the great enormous space of apparent nothingness, which is also everythingness. It's like having this opportunity to realize how strongly we've been identified with our egos or our personalities or our bodies or all of that, and realize that the vastness that holds the whole sea of creation is actually inside us, and we're falling into that. And so it's like this invitation to come home to immensity,
Mm.
which one can feel completely lost in, but for some weird reason I feel like it just becomes more and more and more comforting. It feels more and more true. It feels more and more um
Yeah, that's you really landing now in this expanded consciousness of
and it
menopause. That's I mean that at menopause there is this great expansion of consciousness that goes on within you. Just everything opens up. This kind of new intelligence that comes on board, and that expansion. I talk about being blinded by the light. It's too much for our psyches, especially if our nervous systems are completely exhausted and, or this huge trauma, then it's catastrophic that moment. And the journey through menopause is a journey of learning to acclimatize to that expansion. And I loved how you described the fingers, which are ourselves, dropping us down and down. And I always have this sense I always want to say to people, menopause is on your side.
oh my God,
It's on your
so on your side.
And if you are resisting it is creating so much of the trouble here. And that the moment you accept menopause and the fact that you are going through a dismantling of identities that or ways of being in the world that are actually keeping you from yourself, from what you're really about. You articulated that so beautifully, Claire. And I think as I'm listening to you, not and I'm thinking of people listening to you and the process that you're going through, the necessity of time and space to do that, and the challenge being that nobody has that. Now, you were in a very blessed position with this dear friend of yours that stepped in to support you
And still is.
and still is.
Still is. 3 years in and he's still holding me. Yeah. And it's
Wow.
I am I'm so aware of it, and I'm aware of it every day
I
because
to cry. And
I
it's
know
a man. It's a man that's,
it's a man.
yeah,
It's a man.
yeah.
And I mean he's my best mate,
Mm.
and bless him, he considers me his best investment, and which is miraculous, frankly. But he he watched me through the entire TreeSisters. I mean, I knew him before TreeSisters existed, and he watched me, and he watched me try to kill myself, basically, with overwork. And I lived with him for a little while when I first was leaving England. Not that I knew I was leaving England, um, but he was my gateway to America without me knowing that that's what was happening. He lives on the East Coast, and he said, he said he'd never seen anyone work so hard. He didn't actually know it was possible to work that hard. And then he watched me get sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker. And he was the one who said, just get in a coffin and die. And I had no idea at that point that he would turn around and say, I'll pay you to not work, which is essentially what he's done. I mean, it's a very small wage, but I can live on it. So I don't have, like, that's the privilege. Like, to find myself in this position where my job is recovery. That's my job. And that's what he is very, very clear that that's what my job is. And actually, because it's not just recovering from 12 years of TreeSisters, it's recovering from an unbelievably brutal childhood that has screwed up most of my physiological systems. And I am painstakingly repairing. And it's actually the hardest work I've ever done. And he's super aware of that. which is incredible, that he understands that, you know, we can survive our childhoods, um and everybody's got hardship at that point of some description or other, if it comes with severe betrayal and brutality. It's another thing, because of the way it affects your nervous system and then all other systems. But his generosity, it's just extraordinary. And I mean, you know, I have said, how do I earn this? And he's just like, you are going to write. Like, he's expecting a book or four out of this process. And you know, and I will do it because I'm really aware, okay, if I've been given this privilege now of being held so that I can die, held so that I can drop, held so that I get to forensically explore the rehabilitation of my nervous system, the dismantling of my identities, my the facing into trauma that is rooted in God knows how much past life stuff, like, and all the intergenerational trauma that's been there in order for this to be perpetuated in my lineage. All of it is on the move, like the whole thing. So it's like I am forensically transforming down to the level of my DNA. And because like that, if the DNA is a spiral cradle that your soul lands in, until my DNA actually reflects a different vibration, then my soul still can't sit. So it's like I'm having this chance to just really figure out, okay, when you harm a human being, this is what happens. All right, is there a chance to move beyond that story? Is there a chance to recreate oneself? Can you actually do that? Well, I'm having the opportunity to discover whether you can do that right at the menopausal gateway, which is perfection.
It is
At
total
a
perfection.
total perfection, which kind of has me just feel like, yeah, I have a responsibility in this moment to be as aware as I'm being, to be as
Mm.
present, to be writing about it, you know, on an almost daily basis. To, I mean, I don't know what's going to come out the other end. I don't know whether a map is going to come or whether I don't know, because I'm not beyond the fact that I know at some point I will write. I'm not trying to be the next thing. I'm just in this process of how many people in their lives get a chance to do more than just manage. And that's what I was doing.
Yes, yes.
That's what I was doing. I wasn't able to transform the trauma. I was managing it and thinking that I was addressing it. I wasn't. And, you know, that's what we do. We manage and we cope. And as parts of us are walled off or frozen or whatever, we cope with a little bit of ourselves that's left and do our best. Well, it's just like, I'm not satisfied with the 5% that I've been living. It's just like I am incrementally defrosting all these parts of myself that got frozen up, and disidentifying from them as they are being, you know, redeemed or healed or whatever the right language is. And that is a remarkable privilege, agonizing and exquisite, the two right there together, because all I've, you know, the brutalization of my body started at birth. So my nervous system hasn't known, I haven't known safety. And so, like, I'm trying to fall into a rest that that I don't know, that I'm not, that is not part of my identity this time round. And so, but again, I can look at that and go, wow, what an experiment. Like,
No,
okay, unknown territory. Okay, like, just keep falling, just keep falling. It's there somewhere.
you're in this
Like,
massive birthing experiment, you know. You are you're going through the whole birth canal number all over again, aren't you? Yeah,
which I think is, but I do think, I mean, mine's very extreme because of my past,
exactly.
but I think that's what this is.
It is. It's what we all go through. We're menopause. What you're describing, yes, is a very extreme version because of the extremeness of what you have experienced. So you are. It's like this incredible spotlight through your experience and the depths of which you've had to go to, the sort of excoriating examination that's had to go on. It's honestly like this extraordinary spotlight that has revealed or is revealing the whole infrastructure of what menopause is actually trying to do for us. This extraordinary spiritual awakening to, I mean, it's so cliched saying this, but it's it, to who you truly are, to who we truly are. That is what's happening at menopause. It is the most extraordinary spiritual initiation. And to think that that it's not been named, it's not been valued. And I completely wonder at this man who is supporting you, because at some level, he has recognized that he's investing in you because
Investing.
he's investing in you because, of course, he knows you and loves you and he knows the powerful work you do and the powerful person you are. And you are so, you really do, you are a speaker, you are a writer. So I'm really looking forward to your book, Claire. But it's more than that. I have an intuition that he utterly knows that it's the power of the postmenopause woman. It's the power that can come out of a menopause that is fully consummated, if you like. It's like you are forensically going through the process of menopause, and it's almost like you're not missing one skirring, not one.
I will not.
No.
I
Yeah.
will not miss a moment of it. No one is taking this away from me. I mean, it's literally like, I will fight you. Like, back off, world. Like, you're not, like, I'm not coming out before I'm ready. Like, no.
This man is supporting. How many people have that experience to be able to forensically kind of recover something? I mean, what a gift he is to all of us, not just to you in this moment, because this is the most wonderful, I was going to say experiment, but it is, it's of what could be possible. You are truly illuminating something about menopause for us all. And no, we are not all going to have the extremeness that you are experiencing. But if you're someone who has had extreme abuse in your life, then, and you are feeling the utter desperation and craziness of, what's, coming into menopause, I hope, you're hearing your story will really support them to know that they're not going mad, that this is a waking up. And it's so important that we can gather support wherever we can for this. And I believe simply hearing these stories is a support. It is the isolation. It is the failure to name the fact that this is a spiritual awakening that is so toxic to us. It's another poison. It's another layer of kind of wound.
Patriarchal. It is. It's hard to find the words to just to like illuminate or to. And when you're not in it, looking at somebody that's in it or from here, I could sound completely mad. But it's like those words that you said to me all those years ago, that there is a spiritual teacher inside a woman. It's not just there's a spiritual teacher inside a woman. A woman is a spiritual teacher, and I think it's all of us. I literally think it's all of us, because the 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 mechanism of a woman's body is literally it's designed to break us open into this cosmic union. It's designed to break us into truth. It's designed to show you to yourself so that you can see who you're not. So it's like I'm going to use strong language. I'm going to like as if the ego is a fraud, and it's not. The ego is not a fraud. It's a very necessary part of us.
Very
But
necessary.
it's not, but it's not actually who we are. And menopause is like this mirror shone in like right here that's actually saying, okay, you've lived that version of yourself, and that version of yourself is like exquisitely put together so that the dismantling of that will give you to yourself. It will help you uncover the very specific lies that you came in with to dissolve this time around. You know, the body of woman is 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 an initiation tool. Like it is an initiation in and of itself. Like
Menstrual
we're a
cycle.
walking initiation.
Yes, the menstrual cycle is this initiatory tool, as you say, this initiatory process. Month after month, we're going through it. So this thing of in holding cosmic union in us. I was just talking about that this morning, actually, with my colleague Sjanie. This just before that void moment, actually just before bleeding, and now the void of menopause is this expansion into the great nothing, which is a something, but it to our egos is a complete nothingness, is the place of union when you know how to enter it, when you know how to care for it. And that at menopause, you are so menstruation, you have that every month, just the moment, it's the moment before bleeding. It's a very distinct moment where you step into emptiness. And then at menopause, you step into that emptiness, which becomes your new consciousness going forward. So a post-menopause woman or person is living within this experience of union. That's the possibility when, but of course we are not told this or taught this and shown what's required to be able to taste that experience of union.
Or understand it. And worse, we are past baby making ages. That's the time in the patriarchal system where we become, defunct. Like that's where our bodies are going south, everything's sagging, we're like, let's look to the young women and these older women, as we're heading into crondom. And it's just like, yeah, absolutely. Of course, that tracks with everything that we would not be educated into what is coming because we're opening into the possibility of a level of authenticity, like spiritual and psychic authenticity that cuts through bullshit like nothing else. I mean, you think about the premenstrual, phase of just, dismantling bullshit around the intolerance. It's
Mm,
like you become an embodiment of that. That's what I mean by the truth compass. It's like
mm,
your system, like you're woven into the fabric of creation I mean, we always are, but it becomes the possibility of it becoming much more conscious at menopause. And then inside of the fabric of creation is the woven tapestry of truth,
mm,
is the possibility of full-on alignment. And so, you know, the patriarchy by its very nature couldn't possibly honor or acknowledge that because it's why to me the women are the actual natural leaders, or there needs to be a union between the masculine and the feminine, because what's possible for us, what we start to vibrate with, literally is that woven tapestry of truth. And so that's what, like, it's just this, as I go through, it's kind of just like, wow, 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 like, like seeing it again and again and again, which is why it's like, I don't want, like, this will, I mean, I don't know that this will ever end, actually. I mean, menopause in its like clunky bit, in the falling apart and all the interesting physiological bits that go with it, but that'll be nice if that changes. But actually the initiatory descent into God, I want to say the womb of creation, but like just the disidentification with the betrayal of humanity, which is the fall of the feminine, the disidentification with that, the ability to log on to the greater self, you know, that I hope will only get stronger from here on in. And the menopausal gateway is the thing that, if you give yourself to it, can pull away or allow to fall away everything that is obstructing your capacity to log on in that way and
Mm.
simply dare to live the honest expression of the knowing that is there ever present in your body if you can let yourself feel and follow it.
Yeah,
And
menopause sets the line for what you've just spoken about. So you're doing all work of surrendering the identities that keep you from that, the blocks, the traumas, and so on. And you come to that moment of really feeling and knowing and recognizing yourself. It's a very sweet moment. Well, sorry, it was a very sweet moment for me. I remember it very precisely, actually. And I think of my post-menopause years, because I'm about, I don't know, 17 years or so out of menopause now, as a sort of ongoing deepening or fulfillment into that. So all that I have learned at menopause is what sustains me now. The how can I put it? Because there are sort of continuing initiations that occur as you get older, as you become, as I become, my energy is not as strong as it used to be, and I become more and more permeable. So there are like these mini initiations that go on, which invite deeper and deeper and deeper into something within oneself. So there's a kind of deepening into something, a deepening into
intimacy. I mean, it all feels like shades of intimacy, whether it's with yourself or creation. It's
yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
like a deepening into like a
It is utterly the word, and that is my favorite word. I often talk about the holy intimacy. It more than anything else. That's so beautiful that you brought that up. It is just that, this deepening, 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 exquisite kind of presence to something utterly ineffable, and it's menopause, the workout at menopause, that sets you up for that deepening process, that deepening experience, rather.
yeah, it's miraculous.
It is.
I really find it utterly miraculous and so humbling and beautiful and reassuring.
Mm.
It's like life wants you to know yourself.
Oh my God. That was the most, I've just noticed the time. And that is just the most perfect note to end on. It is miraculous. And life wants you to know yourself. Menopause is on your side, is it wants you to know yourself. And it's going to do whatever it takes for you to know yourself. So basically, don't argue with menopause.
It'll hurt. I think arguing with it will hurt a lot more than letting yourself fall into it. It's like
Yeah.
if I had one thing to say to anybody that's not there yet that's listening to this,
Yes.
it would be trust. Trust the wisdom of your body. Trust what it is saying to you. Trust if it's asking you to rest. Trust if it's showing disinterest. Trust everything. Pay attention and trust, because that voice is there for you. It's not against you. It's for the truth of you. And it's the compass to help you navigate away from any false self that has been suspending you above the root of your nature as part of creation. And it will never lie to you. We can lie to ourselves, but that knowing, that impetus, that energy, that initiatory force that is the body of a woman, that is your body, it's not going to lie to you. You can trust it completely, even if it looks like it did for me, like the dismantling of your whole friggin' life. It's because that's the path home. That's the gateway back to yourself. That's what you need. It's going to give you what you need. Even if you don't know that that's what you need or what you want, it's going to give it to you. It's going to be the most honest knowing that you've ever had if you let yourself have it.
That's it. That's a beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you. Thank you, Claire. I want to invite you to join us for our free 3-day event on October the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd, in which we reframe menopause and look at menopause through a whole new lens on how you might begin to awaken to the power of it. It's called How Menopause Awakens Your Power. Now, whether you are just coming into menopause or you are in it, just beginning to flirt with it, or deeply in it, or perhaps you're emerging, or you could even be post-menopause, but you're still somehow not feeling complete with the process. Many find themselves still somewhat bereft post-menopause when it hasn't been supported, when they don't understand the deeper and fuller story that's trying to happen. So wherever you are on that spectrum of experience, come and join us. Come and learn about a new way of understanding and meeting and dignifying your menopause and liberating the extraordinary power that's available to you there. So come to redschoolmenopause.com and sign up, and we'll see you soon.